Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be picking up where we left off, talking about Space Marines in Rogue Trader. We are going to start off by looking at the constituent parts of a fortress monastery. Company Chapel. Every company has its own chapel attached to its company block. This is the most commonly used place of worship. Here, the Battle Brothers recite liturgies and incant the battle prayers that form part of their regime of discipline. Penatorium. Brothers guilty of any kind of transgression undergo remedial confinement and penitence in the penatorium. Private chambers. These private offices and rooms are used by the various masters of the order. The master of the ships, the master of the forge, and the master of the ordnance have offices here. Communal dormitories. This is where the servants, administrators, technicians, naval personnel, and other non-combatant staff live and sleep. These areas are far less Spartan than the cells of the Battle Brothers themselves. Guest chambers. These comparatively luxurious apartments are reserved for important visitors. A private chapel is attached. Visiting members of the administratum would stay in rooms such as this. Foundries. This is where the Marines manufacture and repair their weapons and equipment. The foundries of the Space Wolves are large and well provisioned. The skilled workers are special Marines called Brother Artisans. The man in charge of the weapon shop is the master of the forge. Beyond the foundries are the testing and weapon grounds where equipment is evaluated. Shuttle silos. The Space Wolves' large and well-equipped fleet is maintained in orbit around Lucan. The monastery fortress has only a small number of ships. These are used as courier vessels and as transports between Lucan and the fleet. Teleportorium. There are 4 separate teleporter rooms in the Space Wolves base. They are the primary means of moving between the fortress monastery and the fleet. Teleportorium 1 is used for the reception of guests and has numerous secret defenses. Launcher pads. 24 aircraft are housed in underground hangars beneath the launcher pads, including 4 large transports and 8 high-speed scouts. The maintenance hangar and fuel tanks are surrounded by diamantine armor casing. Armory. The Armory is a large but crowded underground complex. Its main lift shaft is shielded by double-thickness ceramite cord doors. Ammunition is stored in 4 separate magazines, each wrapped in an individual stasis field and protected by 7 layers of laminated armor. Even if an accident were to destroy one magazine, the damage would be contained. The security of the Armory is the responsibility of the Master of Ordnance. The Armory may only be entered in his presence, the doors opening to his gene print and coded signal. Only the commander of the chapter knows the secret spoken formula which will open the doors in an emergency. Apothecarion. The apothecarion is an advanced medical facility combining all the resources of a hospital, research establishment, and biolab. The doctor doctors and surgeons have private quarters on the upper levels. Servants, nurses, and other supernumeraries share a dormitory on a lower level. In charge of the facility is the master of the apothecarion. He is a very important member of the chapter. It is here that the warriors are surgically altered into superhuman warriors using sophisticated biochem and psychosurgery. Every chapter of the Adeptus Astartes has its own headquarters or base. The locations of some are widely known, such as the Crimson Fist Fortress Monastery on Rin's world. The exact locations of many chapter bases are closely guarded secrets. Many are so secret even the Imperial authorities have no idea where they are. Some are not situated on planets at all, but take the form of orbiting spacecraft or hollowed-out asteroids. A typical marine base is that of the Space Wolves on the planet Lucan. The leader of the Space Wolves, Imperial Commander Enoch, also holds the governorship of the planet. The Space Wolves' leader is known as Lord Lucan, or Lucan for this reason. The base is a giant fortress monastery dedicated both to battle and worship. As in all marine chapters, the fighting troop of the Space Wolves are warrior monks. Ordinary marines are battle brothers, whilst sergeants, captains, and the commander are spiritual as well as martial leaders. The exact nature of marine religious ritual, belief, and expression varies from chapter to chapter, but is centered around the tenets of the Imperial cult and the spiritual hegemony of the ecclesiarch. A simularum. Aside from the Great Hall itself, this is the largest hall in the base. The entire chapter can be gathered inside this vast and high-vaulted room. The simularum is used for mass meetings, religious festivals, and special feasts. Speakers address the assembly from the raised dais in front of the altar. During feasts, the high table is placed on the dais, where Commander Enoch and the masters of the chapter sit. When the simularum is used for cult ceremonies, the screens covering the altar are removed, revealing the reclusium behind. Reclusium. The reclusium is normally partitioned from the simularum by a screen. This is an area reserved exclusively for cult activities. The reclusium is looked after by a religious officer called a reclusiarch. The chapter's holy relics and many of their most precious battle trophies are kept here. The reclusiarch has an office to one side, and there are 3 private chapels, dedicated to Layman Russ, the chapter's founder, the Emperor Deified, and the Emperor Oracular. Refectory. This is the main dining area used during ordinary meals. The kitchens, storerooms, disposal units, and purification vats lie beyond. Fighting members of the chapter follow a strict and simple diet. This is augmented by the complex biochem necessary to maintain their physically enhanced bodies. Meals are eaten in silence, following prayers of thanks offered by the most senior Marine present. Oratorium. There are several such rooms throughout the fortress monastery. They are used for private meetings, briefings, lectures, and small assemblies of all kinds. Librarium. The library is more than a collection of books. It is the central record office and also the main seat of communications. The chapter's astropaths spend many hours here, monitoring and broadcasting the psychic messages that allow Lucan to communicate with the rest of the Imperium. The chief librarian is an important figure. He is also responsible not only for maintaining the chapter's historic written, micro, and holo records, but also for communications within the base and with the outside world. He is also responsible for the base's defense systems. These are controlled from a special armored room in the librarium. The chapter's communications officers are based here too, as well as a sizable staff of librarians, astropaths, and technical assistants. Cells. Each of the fighting brethren has his own cell, a simple room in which he sleeps. The cells are arranged in blocks of 10, corresponding to the members of a fighting squad. Each 10 blocks represents the contingent of a company. Each company block incorporates a small administrative office and private chambers for the captain. Hydroculture. Lucan is a productive world. The space wolves take a tithe of food grown on the planet and always have a supply of fresh local produce. In addition, exotic or seasonal vegetables are grown in the hydroculture vats. Many other chapters maintain far larger hydroculture facilities. Terrarium. The terrarium comprises several large rooms given over exclusively to the maintenance and propagation of plants from all over the galaxy. As well as providing a pleasant area, showpiece, and reference collection, the terrarium also provides the raw ingredients for several of the potent drugs used in the apothecarion. Scriptory. This small room is one of several such scattered around the base. Scriptories provide instant access to unclassified codices from the librarium files. A computing terminal allows the user to select and consult files and record entries in the main library itself. Solatorium. The Solatorium is situated a short distance from the fortress monastery itself. In this retreat, battle brethren may spend days or even years in private contemplation. Marines seeking promotion are expected to undergo weeks of self-deprivation and soul-searching in the Solatorium. Dungeon. The dungeons of the Space Wolves lie deep below the apothecarion. Prisoners may be safely installed in the diamantine-reinforced cells of the dungeon, from where they may be taken to the apothecarion for subsequent interrogation. Generatorum. The fortress monastery derives its power from the deep layers of Lucan itself. 4 huge crystal piles penetrate many miles into the planet's core, converting subterranean heat to conventional energy via a phased crystal interface. Defense laser. The base is protected by a formidable array of defense lasers mounted in armored turrets. 32 lasers remain permanently online. The remaining 88 weapons may be brought to a state of readiness within 4 days. Local defenses. The base perimeter is protected by an auto system controlling 317 separate weapon turrets. Each turret houses 4 laser cannons and a missile launcher. Missile silos. The main bunch of the Space Wolves' ground-to-space defense system is housed in a complex of missile silos situated beyond the perimeters of the base itself. There are over 400 silos like this scattered over the surface of Lucan, each controlled from an armored defense room in the librarium. Catacombs. The burial ground of the space wolves and last resting place of many heroes of old. Great Hall. The main entrance to the base leads directly into the high-vaulted Great Hall. The hall is intended to impress. It is the largest single-room structure on the entire planet. Inside are arrayed many of the battle trophies of the chapter. Paintings of famous battles line the walls. Ancient weaponry and armor shines from plexiglass cases. From the ceiling, spanning the full length of the hall, hangs the spacecraft Medusa, flown by Lehman Russ, the founder of the Space Wolves. Barbican. Before visitors may enter the fortress monastery, they must pass through the gatehouse or barbican. This is always guarded so that visitors may be properly received. Not all visitors come overland, so the barbican has its own landing and launch pads to facilitate the reception of airborne craft. Warriors of the Army. The army is the backbone of Imperial might, numbering millions of fighting warriors. Unlike the Marines, these warriors are recruited on human worlds by draft. The draft, administered by the priesthood, is a hated and feared institution. Almost anyone outside of the Imperial administration may find themselves drafted into the army. Service is always for life, often in some far-flung corner of the galaxy. The role of the army is to garrison human worlds, and to form the main fighting force in prolonged conflicts. Warriors are nowhere near as tough or ruthless as the battle brothers of the legions Astartes, nor are they as insanely dedicated as the Adeptus Arbites, who form the fighting arm of the priesthood. Nevertheless, they are highly trained and usually well-equipped and led. Organization. Warriors are organized into squads of 10 men, including a special weapon trooper and a sergeant. 10 such squads comprise a company led by a captain. Any number of companies can be combined to make an army, approximately 100 being average, 10,000 troops. Ancillary non-combatant staff are integral to each company, and each army has its complement of coordinating non-combatant staff. Additional officers forming intermediate levels of command are included as required. The army leader would be an Imperial commander, and he and his personal staff would usually be appointed from the ranks of the priesthood. The disposition, supply, and command of the Imperial armies lies totally within the hands of the Administratum, forming a further tool of the all-powerful priesthood. Non-combatant staff include a number of astropaths, maintenance crews, and such like, but no spacecraft crews. Armies never have their own interstellar spaceships, unlike Marines, and rely totally on the fleet for transport. This is a deliberate policy of the priesthood, aiming at curbing the individual power of army commanders and discouraging potential rebels. And unfortunately you guys can't see this, but there's a picture of 2 army guys and they both look like Mega Man. It's very silly. Although armies are the basic unit of organization, smaller task forces of 1 or more companies may be detached to fight independently under a senior captain. Equipment. Laser guns are favored by the army because they are simple to maintain, operate, and produce. Imperial commanders can, and do, keep varied stocks of weapons for special use as the occasion demands. Ordinarily, however, a trooper will carry a laser gun and a short sword or knife. Laser pistols are considered to be officers' weapons and are employed by sergeants and captains. Special equipment is distributed evenly throughout the squads. Each squad usually employing a single special weapon, either a basic or heavy weapon. On occasions, special weapons squads can be improvised, or even special weapon companies, although these instances would be rare. Flak armor is standard. A helmet may be worn, or a hood, although often head protection is altogether absent. Eye protection and breathing devices are not carried as standard. Communicators are carried by sergeants and high-ranking officers, but not by the rank and file. Typical squad. A typical squad of Imperial warriors comprises a sergeant, a special weapon trooper, and 8 others. The sergeant and ordinary warriors are equipped with a knife, laser gun, and flak armor. The sergeant also carries a laser pistol. The special weapon-equipped warrior substitutes his laser gun for a flamer or missile launcher. Other special weapons are less common. Uniforms. Armies have their own armorers, weaponsmiths, and technicians, drawn from the ranks of the priesthood. These individuals do not manufacture all equipment by any means, most being obtained from planet-based suppliers, but their personal vagaries and preferences do shape the overall appearance of the army. Equipment is individualized by its users to some extent, and no exact control is maintained over a squad's appearance. The badge of the army is displayed prominently on the chests, or right breast of warriors. Basic clothing comprises a sturdy pair of breeches and jacket, often of leather but occasionally canvas or other substitute synthetic. Civilian clothing is frequently substituted by the troops in any case. Honor badges, religious motifs, and personal ornamentation abound amongst the superstition-ridden peoples of the Imperium. Penal legions. Military service as a warrior of the Imperium is a common sentence for minor criminals. Their offenses might include filling out tax returns incorrectly. Willful fraud, however, is a capital offense. Overdue library books, failure to maintain drains, littering, etc. Service is for life. Soldiers in penal colonies suffer an even harsher existence than the ordinary warriors. Officers are sadistic and uncompromising. In some legions, the warriors are deliberately controlled by the use of friend zone injectors fastened around their wrists. Officers carry controlled equipment and can induce various psychological states in their troops. A penal unit has a 25% chance of being so controlled. Tactics. The army is ready to modify its approach depending on the caliber of opposition, the environment, and the nature of the equipment they have at their disposal. On the whole, they prefer a more cautious approach than the elite Marines, being less ready to lay down their lives for a cause they probably don't understand and would care little about if they did. Aliens are a different matter. With typical human bigotry and xenophobic bloodlust, the army can be relied upon to vigorously attack and destroy alien life forms. The 10-man squad is the basic fighting unit, with special weapons often detached early during a battle to hold important positions or give covering fire. A cautious advance into close range is preferred, but hand-to-hand combat is generally avoided. Future. The Imperium is a vast, scattered realm, extending over almost the entire galaxy, impinging itself upon the more compact areas of alien settled space. The Imperium contains 1,000,000 inhabited worlds, but even this is but a tiny fraction of the galactic whole. Then there is the Eastern Fringe, the remote area of the galaxy where the Astronomicon does not reach, and where the only human settlers are renegades or pioneering groups whose ancestors were forgotten millennia ago. Most of the galaxy remains unexplored, unknown, and dangerous. The potential of new worlds, alien civilizations, and unimaginable resources has stimulated the growth of free-ranging Imperial agents known as rogue traders. Licensed and equipped by the priesthood, the rogue trader is free to explore the far regions of the galaxy, the areas where the Astronomicon does not reach, and those areas within its range as yet unvisited. Rogue traders have even attempted to cross the voids of interstellar space, but over such distances, even the astropath's power of communication are useless, and whether such missions have succeeded is unknown. Operating in isolation from the central authority of the Imperium, the rogue trader must decide how to react to alien cultures, new discoveries, and threats. If he judges a race to be potentially dangerous, he may attempt to destroy it, or gather as much information about it as he can so that others may do so. If he decides a race may be of use to humanity, he may attempt to make contact and establish relations. If merely technologically or minerally rich, a planet may be plundered, and the rogue trader will return to Earth, laden with the treasure of space. Alien artifacts, rare and precious minerals, and undreamed-of technology. Needless to say, the rogue trader requires a fair complement of spacecraft, troops, and other staff if he is to complete his mission. His total responsibility may extend to a dozen spacecraft, often huge, lumbering cargo vessels crammed with a small army, a full crew of technicians and volunteer settlers to establish colonies on new worlds. Most important, however, are the fighting troops, for it is they who will have to deal with any potential threat. Profile. Rogue traders are individuals who have reached a position of power within the Imperial hierarchy. They come from the ranks of the Adeptus Terra, the Inquisition, Army, or Fleet. A few are influential civilians, amongst whom the Navigator families are the most famous. Politics sometimes obliges this course, for free of Imperial command, the rogue trader is also conveniently out of the way, beyond the center of real power. Rogue traders have a reputation as outcasts. Many are people whom the priesthood deems better kept at a safe distance. Vociferous space marine leaders, influential navigators, liberal-minded inquisitors, and rebellious Imperial commanders. A rogue trader's profile reflects his status as an experienced individual. The profile given may be regarded as typical of the level of advancement. Organization. The rogue trader works under instruction from the priesthood, but his brief is a wide one. Furthermore, once contact with Earth has been lost, the rogue trader is effectively independent. Equipment. Equipment can be of any type, often alien or otherwise unavailable within the Imperium. In battle, a rogue trader would typically appear in powered armor and some sort of armor energy field. Weaponry carried at all times would be at least one pistol weapon, usually a bolter, and a power sword or chainsword. Digital weapons are regarded with high favor too. a typical rogue trader. Jan van Jastabal enjoyed a successful career in the Administratum before reaching the supreme position of High Lord of Terra. It was old age that finally spurred this tireless warrior into the outer galaxy, where he quickly gained a reputation of being particularly successful at finding and plundering alien worlds. His suit of powered armor is worn underneath a sleeveless tabard. His helmet is molded into a horned skull. He carries a stasis field and refractor field defenses, and his weaponry includes a bolt pistol, auto pistol, laze pistol, power sword, and 3 Chikaro digital weapons, one each of laser, needler, and flamer. Additional equipment includes a communicator, bioscanner, nose filters, photochromatic eye drops, and immune injector, infravision contacts, chemicals for the Chikaro needler, a rad counter, a stimulant chemical, a sin skin applicator, and sufficient chemical for 3 uses, 3 suspensors, and web solvent. And right there. Oh no, we have one more little section. Retinue. Rogue traders do not take to the empty voids of space alone. Each commands a small fleet, a contingent of warriors, settlers, and all manner of support personnel. With them go supplies to last for several years, vehicles, prefabricated research stations, housing, transport, weaponry, etc. A typical retinue would be an entire company of space marines, 100 warriors, plus 2 companies of ordinary Imperial troops, all with standard vehicles and auxiliary equipment. These can be generated in the normal manner, should you wish. And there is where I'm going to be bringing the video to a close. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you've made it to this point, could you let me know in the comments if you are getting ads on my videos? I'm not monetized. I have not reached YouTube's threshold to be monetized, but because of the recent policy changes regarding advertisements, they can basically put them on any channel they want to, which unfortunately includes mine. So if you're getting them, please let me know. I just want to know how many people are getting them, and I'm really sorry if you are. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.